Hello there, everyone. My name is Crazy Caleb, and today we're going to be taking a look at a new series that I want to cover, and that's going to be the flashes. And today we're going to start off by looking at Discolour Flash. So this is the way the module looks. It's cycling through several different displays, each with several different languages that mean several different colors. So each display has 9 properties, of which I will be demonstrating here. So the first display is the meaning of the displayed word. Next up is going to be the color of the displayed word. The language of the displayed word that it is translated into, the language the displayed word is, then the font the displayed word is written in, that could be probably the trickiest in this example, the punctuation marks appended to each displayed word, and now these last 4 bits are a little bit interesting. So if we take a look, if we highlight over yes in this case, if we highlight over yes, we're going to have a series of symbols appearing on the no button normally, where it would be at. And in this case, it's going to be, we have to pay attention to the symbols and the symbol positions of which it appears on the module. So in this case, that star right there was middle, that cube is bottom right, then middle right, and so on and so forth. So in this case, that's what we're going to be noting down, is the symbol that appears on the no button when the yes button is highlighted, and the position of that symbol. And then finally, when we highlight over no, we have a series of different patterns that are going to be flashing in this case. And what we need to note down is the color of the pattern and the pattern itself. And that's what we're going to be looking at for each of these 9 properties. So what exactly are we going to be doing in this case? So we're going to assign each property of the display to its corresponding cell in the table below, as here. So we have the meaning, the text color, and the language. We have the pattern, the font, the pattern color, and we have the symbol position, and the button, and the punctuation. And if you can take a look down here, we have the translations of each of the colors, starting from English, representing the UK flag, French, I'm not sure what language that is, what flag that corresponds to. We have German. I'm not sure if it's not Finland. It's one of the countries up in Europe. That's quite a large range though. Then we have several other countries. I'm not going to name all of them off, but this is what it looks like. We have the different color options and we have the different translations. So next up, let's actually figure out what this module actually wants us to do. Exactly one group of 3 displays corresponds to cells that satisfy the following for all 9 properties. The 3 cells lie on the same row or all different rows, and the 3 cells lie on the same column or all different columns. So for those of you who are familiar with the rules of set, it's very similar, and it's actually the exact same in this case to set. However, the biggest difference is of the fact that you can have, for example, say if I was looking at the symbols here, and say if there happen to be multiple of the shield, in this case, that would work. If you happen to have 3 of the shield present, you can simply say that's the same row and same column for all of these symbols. That would work in this case. And then what we're going to do is simply submit only these 3 displays in this case. So we're going to press yes on display, and the way that you'll know it'll be submitted is it will be italicized when it goes around. And the submissions are checked once the 3rd submission is made, not when the first submission. So you don't know if you're exactly right when you hit the first display or the 2nd display. And we will simply press the no button to clear the submissions that we have so far. So while all of this looks complicated, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to focus on just these bottom 3 right here, the symbol position, and the punctuation marks. Once we figure out these 3, I will then use one of these guys to confirm and make sure that the symbols work, or that the positions work for these guys. But what we're going to be doing is we need to figure out what each of these 3 symbols work, and we need to figure out a rule. We need to figure out the 3 displays that we can begin looking at. So we're going to note down the symbol, the position, and the punctuation marks corresponding to each display. It's pretty much the easiest, and if you can figure out these 3 displays, it pretty much guarantees that the rest of these guys are going to work as well. But we'll just make sure in this first attempt here. So let's take a look. So we're going to highlight over the yes, and we're going to note down the symbols, the symbol position, and the punctuation marks corresponding to each display. So let's start at the next display. So we have cube, rain cloud, chain, Mac. So cube, rain cloud, chain, Mac. I'm just going to refer to Mac symbol as the Mac. So cube, rain cloud, chain, Mac, shield, chain, heart, star. Shield, chain, heart, star, cube. Shield, chain, heart, star, and lastly, that last one was a cube. Now, there can be multiple symbols obviously present, so let's make sure, in this case, shield, chain, heart, star, cube, and then another cube. Yep. All right, so we're going to start at the turquoise display for the positions now. Positions will begin at middle right, bottom right, top right. So middle right, bottom right, top right. Then next up, middle right, bottom right, top right. Then top left, middle middle, top middle, middle middle, and bottom right. So top left, middle middle, top middle, I believe, and then middle middle, and then bottom right. Let me make sure of that. Middle middle, bottom right. Yep. Then middle right, then bottom right, then bottom right, then top right, then top left, middle middle, top middle, middle middle, bottom right. All right, and now beginning from turkeys, we have the single quotation marks. Waiting for it to come back around. We're going to note down the single positions here. So we have the quotations, and we have asterisks. We have the weird squiggly lines. Then we have angle brackets. We'll wait for it to come back around. If you know the name of these in the comments, please let me know. I don't really know the name of these brackets, but I just call them the squiggly ones. So mind me. Then parentheses. Then parentheses. Then that's actually my end recording button. So I'm actually not going to note this guy down, but we're going to simply just say middle middle for this guy. So those little squiggly bars. I don't know the exact name of those, but I'm just going to note that down as middle middle for now because that is my end recording button. So then we have square brackets, and then we have single quotations again. Not single quotations. There we go. And these are now what we're going to be taking a look at. So what exactly do we do with these guys? So what we're going to be looking for is we need to figure out the same row, same column, and a different row, different columns. Let's figure out what we can work with here. So one of the easiest ways that you actually can figure this out, and in many cases this actually does happen, is if there happens to be 3 of the same symbols, most of the time you can figure out that that could potentially be an answer right there. However, in this case, we do not have 3 of the same symbol present, so that means that we're going to be just taking a look at each of the different symbols we have present. So in this case, let's highlight in the symbol section what symbols we have present, and then potentially start on some of the queries that we can go through here. So we have the cube, we have the rain cloud, we have the chain, we have the Mac symbol, we have the shield, and then we have the heart, and then the star as well. There's lots of options that we can do here. Let's just start querying some stuff and figuring out whether they will actually work with the other 2 being the symbol position and the punctuation marks. I'm going to first just focus on the symbol position to figure out if we can make this work. In this case, we actually happen to have 3 bottom rights, so let's actually figure out if these symbols actually work. So we have the rain cloud, we have the chain, and we have the cube in this example. So we can do the rain cloud, the chain, and the cube. In this case, that is not true because of the fact that these all do not share a row, and they're not all in different rows. So that already automatically makes that false. So next up, let's take a look here. So in this case, let's see what we can do. So these guys, I believe. So maybe let's try the shield, the heart, and the Mac symbol. Shield, Mac symbol, and heart. So in this case, we have, oh, hello. The Mac symbol is in the top right. The shield symbol is in the top left on the button. I'm going to be noting this down. And the heart is in the top middle. So in this case, we could potentially be looking at these 3 symbols that could potentially be right. So let's take a look at the punctuation marks in this case. The punctuation marks in this case correspond to the angle brackets. The shield corresponded to the parentheses. And then this corresponded to the middle that I mentioned here before. Now, how exactly did this all work? So let's take a look at what we have here in our answers. We have the Mac, we have the shield, we have the heart. All of these 3 symbols are in different rows and different columns in this case. For the symbol positions being top right, top left, and top middle, in this case, all 3 of these were in the same row, and all of them are in different columns. And then finally, for the punctuation marks, all 3 of these guys are the exact same thing as the symbols. They're all in different columns and different rows. So this means that this could potentially be our answer. So now what we're going to do is we're going to figure out, let's take a look at one example here. We can maybe figure out the meaning of each of these colors, or simply actually taking a look at the text colors in this case, and figure out if these guys work, then that means this is our answer. And this is what I mean by you can really simplify this module a lot by simply focusing on just these 3 parts, because once you figured out 3, it pretty much guarantees them for the rest of it. It's very rare that you would happen to have, actually I don't even think it's possible to have these 3 all be true, and then somehow one of these guys doesn't be true. But again, let's figure it out. Let's find the text color of the Mac being in the top right, which is blue, then white, then red. Blue, white, and red. which in this case, if I can make sure of it, so we started at, let's see, we start at the cube being in the middle right, on the right symbol over here. So cube being in middle right, so 1, then 2, then 3. The display color is blue, and then white, then next one we skip, and then red. And in this case, taking a look here, blue, white, and red all happen to be in the same column in this case, so that automatically means that these are going to be our guys that we're going to submit. So we're going to submit, starting from the turkeys, we're going to submit 2, 3, then 4, then 5, then skipping 6, and then 7. And just like that is a solved module. It will immediately solve once you get the last one in, and just like that is how the module works. It is important to note that with these guys that we're looking at here, they don't correspond with one another. They simply are just focused on their own little 3x3 cell. So the symbol, for example, wouldn't affect the pattern at all. The pattern wouldn't affect the language, and vice versa. It's simply focusing on each individual cell, whether it forms all in the same row or different rows, or all in the same column or different columns. That's what makes this module a little bit intimidating, but again, breaking it apart and doing it only where you get 3 true examples in this case, being the symbol position, and punctuation marks, makes this module a lot easier to both read for voice bombs and also just the work-wise too. So let's take a look at one final example, as this module isn't that bad, but sometimes you can get a little bit unlucky and have to query quite a few symbols in this case. So let's take a look here. We'll start from blah in this case. So blah will be our beginning where we're going to be at. And let's begin noting down the positions, let's begin noting down the symbols of each position, of each button. So we have star, chain, cube, shield, Mac, star, chain, cube, shield, Mac. Whenever the lights decide to turn back on. Two, 3, 4. And then after the Mac, we have chain, shield, sun, heart. Chains, shield, sun, heart. Chain, shield, sun, and heart. And these are the 5 symbols, and these are the 9 symbols that we're going to be looking at for each display. So starting at blah, middle left, bottom middle, top right, middle left, bottom middle, top right, and top right. And for our next one, we have bottom middle, top right, then middle left, bottom middle, top left. Middle left, middle. I'm going to double check that again just because I want to make sure. Middle left, middle left. That's what I meant to do. Middle left, and I believe 2 bottom middles, and then a top left in this case. Bottom middle, and then top left. All right, and now what we're going to do is we're going to start from blah, and we're going to get all of the punctuation marks in this case. Let's take a look here. So from blah, we have colons, nothing, colon, single quotation, single quotation marks. I can spell none right, that would be nice. None, quotations, the punctuation, angle bracket, symbol, let's mark that as middle for time being. None, colons, up here, colon, and asterisk. All right, now that we have everything that we need here, let's take a look at what we're actually going to be doing here. So let's start taking a look at the symbols that we have present. We don't have 3 duplicates, so that's already not going to work in this case. So next up we have the star, we have chain, we have cube, we have shield, we have Mac, we have the chain again, we have the shield again, and we have the sun and the heart. So let's try and figure some things out. So let's do, for example, let's do the shield, heart, and Mac again, and see if we can figure anything out here. So we have 2 shields in this case. We have a heart, and we have a Mac. So let's consider, we need to make sure we consider both of those shields in this case, because one of them could be right. So in this case, we have top right for the shield, we have top left for the heart. Could any of these, or excuse me, not top right for the shield, we want to do middle for the Mac, we have top left for the shield, we have middle for the Mac. Can we get a bottom right perhaps? This first shield is top right, so in this case that is not true. And this last one is bottom middle, so in this case that is not true. So in this case we cannot do shield, heart, and Mac. Can we do perhaps cube, heart, and sun? Cube, heart, and sun. In this case we only have one of these guys each. So let's take a look here. So cube is currently in the top right position, sun is in the bottom left, and heart is in the top left. That does not work. Let's try perhaps the shield, star, and sun. Shield, star, and sun. Let's take a look here. So we have middle left for the star, and we have bottom middle for the sun. Can we get a top right? Yes, we can actually get a top right for the shield. So let's ignore this shield for now. So in this case, let's make sure. So we have star in the middle left. We have star in the middle left. We have the shield in the top right, and we have the sun in the bottom middle. So in this case, and let's make sure here. So we have the star, shield, and sun, in this case corresponding all to the same row. The symbol positions all correspond to different columns and different rows. Now let's take a look at their punctuation marks. So we have colon, colon, and colon. And in this case, this rings true for both of these rules. If all three of them have the same thing of some sort, in this case being punctuation marks normally, that already automatically means that this rule is going to be true. This is exactly what I mean by it's a little bit different from set, whereas you could have duplicate of a specific symbol, a specific position, or a specific punctuation mark of any kind, really. And that will be counting as true. So in this case, this already gives us a pretty good idea that it's going to be between these three symbols here, or these three positions, rather. So we're going to start at blah, and let's make sure. So the text colors in this case, blah is yellow. Then down 4 to grun. Grun was cyan. Oop, that's not what I wanted to do. And it was 2 before the starting position, so let's make sure here. So none, top right, middle middle, middle left, bottom middle, and bottom middle again. That one is black, so in this case, these all three form a column here. So in this case, that already means that it's true. So in this case, these are going to be the three symbols we're going to be submitting. So we're going to start with blah in this case. Then we're going to go down 4 to shield top right. And then we're going to go down 3 more in this case, and we're going to submit these guys. So let's start from the blah in this case. So wait for it to come back around. In this case, we have blah, skip, skip, then grun, skip, skip, skip to solve the module. And just like that is a solved module. As always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to stay crazy, stay cool, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.